With all this Sibo talk, we haven't yet discussed the diagnosis part of it. So how do you get a Sibo diagnosis? Coming up today on part 6 of my Sibo series. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah K. Hoffman, aka Gutsy Girl, and today we are here to talk all about how to get that Sibo diagnosis. For most people, the way that they go about doing it is that their doctor gives them the breath test. However, I want to share a little bit more about the breath test, but also a couple other ways that are sometimes used in the diagnosis of Sibo. If you're new here, remember that Sibo stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it is a bacterial overgrowth that is located in the, you guessed it, small intestine. Okay, so today let's just talk about the 3 most common ways to get that Sibo diagnosis. The first and the most common way today is still via the Sibo breath test. What is the Sibo breath test? The Sibo breath test is just a breath test. It is a test that you prepare for 24 hours in advance, and then you go through a period of time where you provide several different samples of your breath via a small tube. You mail the sample tubes back to a lab, which then get analyzed for Sibo, and you find out if you have Sibo or not. In another video, I am going to share far more about the Sibo breath test and how I did it, how I prepared for it, and more. So that's as much as I'm going to say about it today, but just know that the Sibo breath test is by far the most common way that people are diagnosed with Sibo. The second test is the organics test. So what is that test exactly? This test is a functional medicine test that measures your urine in order to see your levels of yeast and or bacteria found and produced in the small intestine. And if the small intestine is housing yeast or a bacterial overgrowth, then their byproducts will show up in this urine analysis. And so oftentimes, practitioners will use this test to help determine whether or not someone has Sibo. However, one thing to make note of with this sort of test is that it will not be able to tell you whether you have hydrogen or methane dominant Sibo, but rather if there could be Sibo present. And the third way that is sometimes used in order to determine whether or not someone has Sibo is just via a comprehensive stool test. So with a comprehensive stool test, I've had many of them. I've got them done for my children as well. But with a comprehensive stool test, what a practitioner is looking for is an overabundance of bacteria in the large intestine. And while we should have a lot of bacteria in the large intestine, sometimes what a practitioner will say is you have symptoms of Sibo, there's an overabundance of bacteria being produced in the large intestine, so there could also possibly be some overgrowth in the small intestine as well. The nice thing also about stool testing is that it can also determine if you don't have Sibo, if there are other things going on, like other overgrowths or parasites, or other sorts of digestive issues. Okay, so those are the 3 most common types of ways currently that Sibo is diagnosed via a practitioner. You can get some of those tests online. I will share with you any resources that I have for that in the comments below. If you are looking for an unofficial test and you're just kind of really playing around trying to determine if you should go into your provider and get a more accurate test, you can grab a food marble air device, and that will allow you to do testing at home in order to get a better grasp on what could be going on in your gut prior to seeing your practitioner. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I will see you again next time.